Hey guys, Blaine Larsen here, and I want to talk to you about some red flags. I've had many times where I have a client that's very eager, very excited by a house. And they feel like they're not going to find the right one. And so sometimes they get to a point where I need to pump the brakes a little bit, slow them down, and talk through some issues that I'm seeing. At the end of the day, yes, I'd like to get paid a commission, but if you're not happy with the house or if we see some problems, we really need to slow down, stop the process, and address those items that we see. I think the red flag that I see, number one, is buyers trying to convince themselves. I know something's off. I know that they're really pushing for this house, and I don't feel like they are rationalizing everything that's going on. I think the biggest problem they have is they're trying to convince themselves it's the right house for them. If I sense something like that, usually we'll have a sit down, we'll have a conversation, we'll see what else is out there. I'm not going to push you to buy what could potentially be the wrong house. At the end of the day, it's your decision, but I'm going to explain what I see as a red flag and make sure that you're addressing that as well and rationalizing that and taking that into account before we proceed. Red flag number two that I see: the house has something that you can't change. We'll call it a fatal flaw, if you will. Sometimes there's something that paint and carpet's not going to fix. We need to take into account that if you're on a busy road, that's going to affect your value depending on the market that you're in and depending on how much inventory is out there and how many options other buyers have. Your house is going to get passed by if it sits on a major road. Again, depending on the market, but that's something that you really do need to consider. Maybe it's in a bad location. The area that you choose is completely up to you. You can live wherever you want to live. But if there's something out there that we should take into account for, or at least get some more information on, that's something that's probably important. If you have a home that has an awkward floor plan, it's not very functional. Again, instead of trying to push and try to find a way to make it work for you, I want you to think about your investment for the future and what that's going to look like to other buyers down the road and how you're going to capitalize on that. Maybe it has a really tiny lot. Maybe it has bad neighbors. Again, things that cosmetically you can't fix or improve on your house. And you just need to take that into account and really slow down. I know it's exciting. I know it's fun. I know you're trying to buy the American dream. But at the end of the day, it's a sound investment that we want you to make as well. Let's talk about red flag number three. A lot of people get qualified for an amount, or the lender says they can afford so much. And at the end of the day, you're stretching your pocketbook. We've heard the term so many times that you don't want to be house poor. Well, guess what? I don't want that for you either. I want you to still be able to live the life that you want, the life that you enjoy, and have the American dream at the same time. So just because you get qualified for an amount doesn't always mean that's the right number for your family. And so we don't really want to stretch that payment where you're concerned about how much you can afford and that all of a sudden you don't like your life anymore, but you love your house. Red flag number four: inspection time. We know that no house is perfect. There's going to have issues on every single house that you buy. I don't care if it's brand new or not. We've seen it all. But when it's something that we've seen where we have foundation issues, and we're obviously going to get an expert in there, but if we're trying to pass off what they say is not a big deal, we want to slow down and really see how serious that is. If there's been deferred maintenance everywhere, some people just don't take care of their homes, and that can just be a can of worms that opens up. And all of a sudden, you're fixing your house more than you're enjoying your house. Okay. Again, a professional home inspection, we push for every single transaction that we want every buyer to seriously think about getting that taken care of. If we have multiple water issues, some expensive stuff like a roof or the HVAC that we know is going to come up in the near future, we want to make sure we're accounting for that early. And again, just not sliding through the process to get to closing and get moved in. I don't care how big of a hurry you're in. There's always a time we need to slow down and make sure that this house doesn't have the wrong red flag for you. All right, we're going to address red flag number six. I think it's really important to take into account your current situation or what the near future is going to bring. So if we have somebody that is maybe an empty nester or going to soon be, and probably doesn't need a huge house, we want to consider looking at something smaller, something that's going to be more effective for them in the years to come. Maybe a young family, and they're not taking into account for the fact that they have kids on the way, or that they're trying to buy their forever house at the time, and maybe it's more affordable for their current life to get something a little bit smaller, but again, keeping in account what it looks like for the next 3 to 5 to 7 years, and forecast that we're buying the right house not only for right this second, but for the years to come up. A lot of times that we get people that get really excited about a house or a lot or the cosmetic upgrades, and we're not thinking the functionality of the home for years to come. Again, this is a big investment, and we want to make sure that it works for you and your family for time to come. Red flag number 7 that I want to talk about is when they won't listen to my advice or the advice of a professional home inspector or HVAC contractor, something like that. It's really a warning sign when they're ignoring everything that comes out there. And sometimes, and I'll tell this to all my clients all the time, sometimes I'm just going to flat out be brutally honest. Once again, it's your decision, it's your home, it's your investment. But I will stop the tracks. I will be brutally honest with you, and I will make sure that you're taking into account my advice before we move forward. Just to close this up, I've done this before and I'll continue to do it for the rest of my entire career. There are times that we've had to cancel a deal or move out of a deal from having a really tough, harsh conversation, making sure that it's the right investment, it's the right property. Because at the end of the day, my commission means nothing to you if you make an investment and you're not doing it off sound advice and taking into account everything throughout the process and making sure that it's the right fit for you.